This episode of Permatex Pro-Tips is all about selecting and using the appropriate Permatex gasket maker. For today's episode, we'll use exhaust manifold gaskets as an example. Replacing an exhaust manifold gasket is pretty straightforward, but we've got a couple of tips to save you time and even help you avoid leaks by selecting the right gasket maker for the job and applying it correctly. We'll dive into those and give you a rundown on some best products and practices to get the job done right the first time. The first step is to inspect the manifold for cracks. If you find any, you'll need to completely replace the manifold. Next, clean and remove any old gasketing material. A quick solution may be to dive in with a razor, but that risks gouging the head and manifold mating surfaces, leaving weak points where leaks can form. Instead, use a chemical gasket remover and Permatex Safer Scraper. You'll get rid of that old material and leave a smooth, clean surface for the new gasket. Let's take a minute to look at some of the chemical gasket color and performance options and where they are used. Black gasket makers are specially formulated to combine high flexibility and resistance to oil. They are ideal for jobs such as oil pans, timing covers, valve covers, and differential covers. Gray is most commonly used when you need rigidity under a high torque load. They can be used on thermostat housing, water pumps, and intake manifold end seals. When working on an exhaust manifold, we're going to use Permatex red gasket makers. They are designed for high temperature performance and can be used on headers, exhaust manifolds, turbochargers, and slip-fit exhaust joints. And for maximum performance, up to a scorching 750 degrees Fahrenheit, Optimum Red has you covered. Prior to reassembly, it's a great idea to apply Antiseize lubricant to exhaust manifold bolts. This helps prevent seizing, galling, and corrosion in this high temperature area. As you apply the gasket, a bead size between 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch is what you're shooting for. Too much gasket maker increases the chance of leaks. More is not better. Traditionally, mechanics would allow the gasket maker to skin over prior to assembly. But the best practice with modern formulations has changed. Apply gasket maker, assemble, hand tighten, and let it sit for an hour. Sealants cure from the outside, so proper curing time is very important. After an hour, apply final torque to spec. The gasket maker will flatten and seal perfectly. And remember, full cure takes 24 hours on standard silicones. But if you use the right stuff, you can return the vehicle to service immediately. And for those times when you need a faster return to service, check out the Right Stuff Red in the pressurized applicator can. It will return your vehicle back in 60 seconds. If you prefer a tube application option, the Right Stuff Red is now available in a 90-minute formulation. For over a century, Permatex has been bringing innovative products to the automotive aftermarket. Made for the professionals, by the professionals. Stay tuned for more Permatex Pro Tips.